Welcome to the Bois Sports Talk, everyone. Today we got college football rankings and the championship game predictions. We have returning members Van, Matt, and Cena, and new additions of Connor and Brandon. Since we got everyone else's drink lock of the week picks in, we're going to get Connor's, Cena's, and Brandon's picks in today. Make sure you are subscribed to our channel for all your college football needs. After 50 subs, we're going to go live and have a drink party.
Woo!
This week's first subject is the college football playoff rankings. I personally think the rankings are flawed, and we'll get into that. We'll start off with Iowa State being moved up to number 6 spot in the nation. I don't think they belong there. They have 2 losses against number 19 UL and number 21 Oklahoma State. They do have wins against top teams like Oklahoma and Texas, but they just don't belong in the top 10. That's where someone kicks in at.
Brandon kicked.
Anybody?
Brandon is paused.
All right. Well, I'm gonna keep going. I don't think they belong at 6 because they're 24th in the nation with yards per game, 21st in points per game. And for defense, they're 23rd in yards given up and 21st in points allowed per game. They just don't look like a top 10 team to me. I don't know why the committee put them there, but just one of many mess-ups that the committee has.
Well, I think if we're going to keep any 2-loss team anyway, it's hard for you to justify that Iowa State is better than a Florida and Georgia and then also a Cincinnati that's undefeated. I think if you were going to put any 2-loss team there, you could have kept – I don't believe Florida should be 7, but at least Iowa State doesn't deserve it any more than Florida does. At least they got a top offense and a potential Heisman candidate at quarterback. Like I said, I don't watch Iowa State. I don't really know anything about them. That's why I don't have too much of an opinion, but I still don't believe they should probably be ranked 6 over a Georgia team.
Brandon?
They should be out of the top 10.
And a Florida team.
Yeah, I definitely think they're way higher than what they should be, for sure. Great team, definitely the best team they ever had at that university, but way too high compared to Georgia's and Florida, A&M, and them.
Yeah, I think they should be a top 10 team going into this season, but not in the top 6 spot right there going into where they're at right now over a Georgia team or a Florida team, maybe even a Cincinnati team, but that's still undefeated. But college football rankings place them, so it's where they at.
I think Oklahoma beats them this weekend anyway.
We're not there yet, Connor. All right, we got number 7 Florida, who just moved down 1 spot after losing to a 3-5 LSU team. I don't know how that's possible for a top 10 team to lose to an unranked team who has a losing record and only drop 1 spot. I said last episode that it was going to be tough for Florida to drop below UGA, but I did think they were going to. But it was really crazy to me that a top 10 team lost to a 3-5 team and dropped 1 spot, just like the AAC commissioner said that the committee's list is biased, and I believe him. Like, after Florida lost that game, they should have free fell, just like Miami.
Yeah, I definitely believe that too as well. They should have fallen more than they did, and Georgia shouldn't be as high. Going back to the point that they shouldn't have fell below Georgia, but Georgia shouldn't be – I don't even think Georgia should be top 10. If not, they should be number 10 or something like that. But I'm going to be honest with you. I think the committee did this, honestly, to build up more drama for an SEC championship game that was going to look like if you put Florida down to 13 or something, you drop them out of the top 10, nobody's going to want to watch it. People already barely want to watch it because they know Alabama's going to curb stomp them pretty much. But I think keeping them as a top 17, it builds up more drama. Like, what happens if they do win? Do they automatically jump over an A&M and an Iowa State or something like that? I think it just builds more drama and builds more hype for more people to watch the game. I think that's what the committee was doing. I do think they made the right call of putting them above Georgia, but I still don't think Florida and Georgia should be that high.
You're telling me, Matt, that these college football committee rankings are biased to the viewers of
The
national?
college football committee's biased to the Power Five.
Yeah.
I would have to disagree, honestly. I think they're exactly where they should be for our Georgia rank. Florida, honestly, I think they are one of the better teams, and they should be number 7. But after the loss to LSU, which was by a last-minute field goal, pretty much 3 points of a loss to a sorry team, it's just they should have dropped way below. But for the teams that are in the top 10, I think they are a top 7 team. I think they beat A&M, if they went head-to-head. And I think they beat Notre Dame if they go head-to-head. And
They didn't beat A&M.
A&M beat
They're not beating
Florida.
Notre Dame.
yeah, that's right. You're right. But it definitely speaks volumes that they dropped Cincinnati to rank number 9, and which kind of really just puts them out the top any type of playoffs chance for them.
You're right. They did drop Cincinnati. The committee came out in defense of their dropping of Cincinnati, saying that they weren't able to see Cincinnati play the last 2 weeks, but they've also haven't seen other teams play multiple weeks, and those top 25 teams have still stayed the same in their rankings. To me, Cincinnati is the number 6 team in the country.
I'm gonna say they haven't seen Ohio State play, but like 4 or 5 games, and they kept them in the top 4 all year long.
Yeah, so I think that was bullshit excuse because I think they are biased to two Power 5 teams. The only reason Cincinnati's dropping is that they're the only Group of 5 team in the top 10 right now.
Agreed that it is biased to the Power 5 teams, but the way it is, the way it's always been, maybe one day we'll see a football playoff that is a lot bigger than 4 teams and will give these non-Power 5 teams a chance to actually have a shot in the playoffs and prove themselves. But that's the world we live in right now. So
Cincinnati has a really good resume, in my opinion. They beat an 8-2 Army team, 24-10. They beat a 7-3 SMU team, 42-13. SMU's only other losses came from number 23 Tulsa and Memphis. They beat a Memphis team at 7-3, 49-10, who other loss was only to SMU. And they beat a 6-3 UCF, which saying 6-3 is on your resume might sound bad, but when UCF only lost to number 23 Tulsa and not ranked no more Memphis. That speaks volumes to them.
Wasn't UCF weren't they still like top in the rankings when they beat them though?
Who, Memphis?
No, wasn't UCF in top 25 when they lost to Cincinnati?
I'll look it up real quick, but
I don't remember when they played, but I thought UCF was.
No, they weren't.
They weren't.
There's a lot of things. I think when the season started off, kind of what's wrong with the rankings. We look at the ranking system right now. We got Coastal Carolina ranked 12. Well deserved for them, but they're not a 12 team that would stomp anybody, even close to where they are at. We got Louisiana Raging Cajuns at number 19. Like the ranking system this year is just a little wonky with the COVID. So it's kind of hard just to validate these wins over these ranked teams supposedly. When we know that the Big Ten, the Big 12, and the SEC, these like real powerhouse conferences, typically have really good athletes, which I think, which the group of guys that make decisions on who goes to the playoffs and not really do consider is the athletes that they got to go against.
There's only one team in the Big Ten that's been relevant for the past 5 years, and that's Ohio State. No one else in the Big Ten can compete.
So you're telling me it's not Michigan?
Not Michigan, not our Balts, Michigan State.
Be the first to tell you that it's
Michigan.
not.
But
So you're
anyways,
telling
let's
me
get back to
not
Cincinnati because I want to make the case that Cincinnati is the number 6 team in the country. Cincinnati offense is, I mean, it's really good, but their offense alone won't justify them being in the top 10 or top 6. They're number 17th in points per game with 40.7. They're 10th in a nation with points per game. 17th in the nation with yards per game with 473. But their defense is where they excel at. They're 7th in yards given up, and they're 5th in points allowed with 15 points per game. That's less points given up than Alabama has given up, and Alabama has only given up 16.8 points a game. Let's go back to who they beat in. They beat UCF, like I said. UCF has the number 1 offense in the country. UCF is putting up 585 yards per game, 44.3 points per game. They held Memphis to 10 points, who Memphis is averaging 31 points per game. They beat SMU they held SMU to 290 yards and 13 points. SMU is 12th in points per game at 38.6 points and 9th in yards per game at 494 yards. They're shutting down some of the top offenses in the nation.
Yeah, I agree.
That's more than what Iowa's
I
done.
agree. They are doing.
If they upset Oklahoma, get a few, they're gonna have some big games coming up this week. That if it swings in their favor, they're gonna be in serious talk for that playoff spot between them and A&M. In my opinion,
I think Cincinnati's going to end up being like another UCF. They go undefeated through the season, and then they try to make their case saying they didn't give us a chance. I don't think Cincinnati's getting in, even if Ohio State and Clemson lose. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
Matt froze. He said he's going to be honest. He didn't think they were going to make it.
They probably won't.
Cincinnati, they have a chance, but a lot of things got to their way. Too many big games, I think, for them to jump a spot where they're not going to be able to overcome the difference, like with the Iowa State-Oklahoma game happening. The
Hey, can y'all hear me?
Bama Florida game, these are real big games that are teams that are really high teams. So if they win, they can jump up into that top 4 spot. Cincinnati just doesn't play that tough of a team this week to really make that big jump like these other teams have the possibility to.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think Cincinnati has a chance to go into the playoffs anymore. And that's only because the committee has dropped them the last 2 weeks. If they would have stayed where they were at number 7, while they had COVID issues, and they go in and beat a top 25 team in Tulsa, and stuff happens in front of them, I think they had a chance. But now that they've dropped 2 weeks in a row, I think their playoffs is gone.
Yeah,
Yep.
I agree.
Their playoffs chances are out the door. Let's move on to USC. Move up 2 spots after a struggling win versus the UCLA. What do we think about them being ranked number 13 here in these rankings?
I think I think it's all right for right now. But like I've said in the recent podcast, I think if USC had gotten to play a full season, I think they would be ranked higher. They'd be getting more of a talk for a playoff contention if they could have ran the table. I do think it was deserved that they jumped off because, I mean, as we saw with the committee values undefeated in your conference. It doesn't matter what it looks like. They value that you won your conference and that you're winning the games. So it doesn't matter now it matters if you lose by close or lose by a lot, but it's looking like it really matters with them with USC that they're running through their conference. I would also like to point out that putting Oregon in this Pac-12 championship is a mistake. I think it's something that the Pac-12 shouldn't have done. I think, honestly, the Pac-12 should have awarded USC the Pac-12 championship because it's not your number one. It's not even your second or third best team in the conference, honestly. Because you have a Colorado team, yeah, they lost to Utah, but they were better. But even though they're in the South, we're getting an Oregon team that's 3-2 against undefeated USC. I just think that's kind of stupid and makes the Pac-12 look bad. But I think it's also a game that's going to let USC build on their resume if they win. Another good game for Slovis, who's a pretty decent quarterback. He doesn't get a lot of recognition because they've only played 5 games, but he's a pretty good quarterback in that air raid offense. They got some good young receivers. I think they can build off of a Pac-12 win and eventual New Year's Six bowl berth with maybe a Cincinnati. Maybe we get to see a USC versus Cincinnati, and both of them get to prove who's going to be there next year. And I think it's a big building block. And we get to see both those schools finally go up against 2 big schools and see which one was actually good and which one was a pretender.
I'll address Matt's claim of Oregon not deserving to be in the Pac-12 championship after we finish with the rankings.
Yeah, so, well, now I'm going into it, though. Do you think USC deserves to be in the top 10 right now?
No.
I think so. I think they do. Why couldn't they be in the top 10, but you still have an Ohio State team in there? I'm going to keep humping on the Ohio State thing because they played just as many games as a USC.
Because we know Ohio State
you
would
want to know the
curse on
difference
USC.
between USC? You want to know the difference between USC and Ohio? Ohio has dominated their games. USC has struggled. They won 3 out of 5 games by
They
less
won
than
by 7 points against Indiana.
Yeah, Indiana's a top-ranked team too.
I just say USC. You can't make the schedule. USC plays who they play, though.
Yeah. Indiana.
I think you have a bunch of 2-loss teams in the top 10. Why can't we have a undefeated Pac-12? It's still a big Power 5 school.
No, USC, like I said, USC has struggled to win their games. They won 3 out of their 5 games by less than a touchdown. The teams that they've beat combined for a 7-14 record. They even struggled to beat an 0-5 Arizona team that they beat 34-30. I mean, you can't justify that. If they're a top 10 team, they should be blowing out teams like Arizona.
On paper, too, Florida should have blew out LSU, too. But since it's a in-conference rival and that's all you play, they didn't blow them out.
Yeah, but Florida also hasn't struggled against anybody else.
They struggled a little bit. No,
Yeah,
like if
LSU
you look at the
and
beginning of
Texas
their
A&M,
game,
those are the only
if
two
you
teams
look
they
at the
struggled
first half of their games, they don't start blowing people out at the beginning. They just come on there at the end.
When
their second half
Florida
team,
did
but
struggle, it was against
USC's
better
not.
talent.
Hey, I gotta go. I'll be right back.
Ohio State sitting at 5.
All right, Brandon.
I don't think you should be saying that USC was struggling because really the whole Pac-12 in general is struggling this year.
Okay, so if USC is a top 10 team in their whole conference is struggling,
USC wasn't struggling against UCLA because at that time when they played UCLA was a hot team. They had won a couple of games in a row.
The UCLA was on a 3-game win streak.
Right, so it wasn't really
UCLA's also got a top 25 offense.
Yeah, so I mean, the whole conference of the Pac-12 is struggling, but at that point when UCLA was not. They weren't struggling because UCLA had a 3-game win streak going into it, so they were a hot team.
USC's too high.
They were struggling.
I prefer a team over Coastal Carolina over USC.
I think USC would curb stomp a Coastal Carolina. To be honest with you,
they can't even curb stomp Arizona, who's 0-5.
It doesn't matter. That's an in-conference rival. You get hyped up more to play those boys because people in Arizona. Slovis, he's from Arizona. He got recruited by USC. They're taking out-of-state recruits, and that hypes these people up more because they're going against a school that didn't recruit them, or also the people in Arizona come from SoCal or NorCal, and those people get hyped because they're in schools wouldn't recruit them.
Didn't Arizona just recently lose 70-7 and fire their coach?
They did.
Yeah.
Well, that's not saying a whole lot.
Arizona State too.
Yeah.
But I mean, they lost Arizona.
USC beat by a point.
which was also at 9 in the morning in LA.
And we don't pick the times or the schedules.
Mm.
So.
All right, number 15, UNC. Again, they're another team that hasn't gotten any love from the committee. They should have moved up a lot further than what they did this weekend. They beat a previously ranked number 10 Miami 62-26. I think they do have a better resume for higher ranking than number 15. They do have 3 losses though. One of them coming from Notre Dame, and the other 2 they lost by 3 points each to Virginia and Florida State. Their big victories were beating number 22 North Carolina State by 27 points, and also, like I said, Miami 62-26. It was hard for me to believe that Florida dropped one rank after losing to LSU. It's hard for me that UNC only moved up 2 spots after whooping, manhandling, whatever you want to call it, Miami.
I agree. I think I would have definitely moved them up probably at least 6 or 7 spots, maybe at number 12 or 13. But it is also hard to put them ahead of like teams like USC as well.
It's not hard. Like I said, the teams that USC beat is Arizona, Arizona State, Utah, Washington State. They combined for a total of 7-14 record. UNC's offense is top 5. They're number 3 in yards per game at 556 yards per game, and they're 5th in points per game, sitting at 43 points they average. They have a resume, and if you're gonna sit there and say that you lose by 3 points, it's okay, because it's or win by 3 points to 0-5 team, a 3-point loss to a team that's actually playing better and can actually win games, it shouldn't be that big of a deal breaker for them. I think they're should be higher than at least USC. I would say their ceiling's at 11.
Outside the top 10 now.
My only issue here is that they only moved up 2 spots.
Again, their conference record. That's what I'm going to go back to, is their conference. That's what the college football committee values more. I would imagine. I don't know the people on the committee, but I would imagine they value their record in conference more than they do the wins and the losses and how close. I'd imagine they value that a team is undefeated in conference other than a 3-loss team in conference. But again, I don't know.
Connor?
I imagine the committee knows that the Pac-12 isn't good also, outside of USC and UCLA.
Agreed. So now that we talked about some of the college football rankings, we're going to go ahead and we're going to move into some of the big game matchups we got going on this Saturday. Connor's going to take the lead over here talking about Georgia Vanderbilt being canceled.
Yeah. So Georgia and Vandy is canceled, which means Vanderbilt finishes the regular season with no wins. So
A winless Vanderbilt.
At least they made history this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, how about we talk about that kicker?
I can
First
get further than
kicker in the SEC.
Yeah.
Hey,
Kicker.
Vanderbilt, if you want someone who can kick at more than 25 yards, let me know. Call me. I'll send you some clips of me.
Yeah, go try
Maybe
it for 'em.
Vanderbilt coming into next season, after this winless season. Maybe they got some, things they'll take away. They can start building off of some stuff and hopefully
Probably not.
Hopefully
Don't
get
have a
back
head coach.
maybe in a good direction going into next season.
Yeah,
They just went through
win a game
signing
next
day
year.
without a head coach.
They'll definitely win a game next year when they play someone like Southeastern Louisiana.
So,
Line up, baby.
line up. Why the SEC schools pay those teams. Going on to the next game, we got LSU versus Ole Miss.
Ooh, that's a sleeper. It's one you won't watch on TV.
I think it's actually
Yeah,
going to
'cause
be
you're
a
gonna
good
sleeping,
game.
actually.
Yeah, you're going to be sleeping, but I think it's actually going to be a good game. I wouldn't sleep on it not being a good game, but especially because Ole Miss is great, high-powered offense with Lane Kiffin. And, I mean, LSU's coming off a big win. Maybe them boys are motivated now. Maybe Coach O got the boys buzzing again. There's going to be a bunch of freshmen and sophomores playing like it was against Florida. So maybe they're going to get hyped. Maybe they get to play more again. And we get to see what Lane Kiffin's offense is like, and we get to see what LSU comes back with after that Florida game.
I think whoever wins the third down battle wins that game.
You see my hat?
Yeah, you
That's
see my
LSU.
shirt?
You know who I'm taking this weekend? Ole Miss by 25.
25.
Yeah,
Drink a lot?
Lane train, I guess, right?
I wouldn't
So
doubt
they
that.
lose. So if they lose by 23,
Yeah, they lose.
Well, I got Ole Miss beating LSU. I'm sorry. I've seen this Ole Miss team with both their quarterbacks. Matt Corral's gonna be throwing. John Rice probably is gonna be running the ball. They have talent all over the field, and LSU
except on defense.
LSU is just not it this year. So I got Ole Miss winning this game.
Matt?
It's hard for me to pick. I'm gonna just pick with my heart and say, "Go Tigers, baby."
No,
Tiger. All right, so we got 2 Ole Miss, 1 Tiger. Connor, who you taking this Saturday matchup?
Take Ole Miss by 10.
Ole Miss by 10.
As much as I hate to say that.
I'm
Lane
also
Kiffin has arrived to the SEC, baby.
They're going to be good
I'm
next
also
year.
going to go ahead and agree.
Ole Miss is gonna be good next year
Yeah.
too.
So I'll take Ole Miss by 21.
All right, so 4 against 1. We'll see who wins that one.
Hey, maybe it'll be an upset and LSU will pull out another win.
Would
here.
it really be an upset though?
Oh.
Yeah, I think it might be an upset.
LSU winning would be an upset.
LSU winning would be
An upset to us, yeah, but the national media's eyes, they wouldn't care.
Yeah, I mean, no one's gonna care who wins.
No one's gonna watch outside of LSU and Ole Miss fans. No one's actually watching this game, to be honest with you. Especially when you have an SEC championship game on.
True. So going into the next game, we got Bama versus Florida, who just came off of that. Not a good matchup versus LSU in the end. So it's going to be an interesting game to watch here, I think.
I mean, I have a ton of information on this game. It is going to be an interesting game. Florida has been really good this year, blowing out almost everybody they played except for number 8 UGA, and I mean against number 5 Texas A&M and LSU. They have a big win against number 8 UGA, who they beat out 44-28. Their 2 losses have only come by 3 points, and one of them is sitting at number 5 right now. I do think the loss to LSU last week was Florida being caught looking towards Alabama's game this week. Florida does have the 9th highest scoring offense in college football and averages 513 yards a game. They're led by Heisman Trophy hopeful Kyle Tusk, who is completing 70% of his passes and have 42 total touchdowns. Me personally, if they win this game, Tusk will be the Heisman.
Right.
And then Alabama is led by the Heisman leader right now, Mac Jones, who has a completion rate of 76%. And Alabama is the highest scoring team in the nation with 49.5 points per game, while also averaging 537 yards. I think it's going to be very interesting, this game. I don't know. I know who's going to win. I think the whole world knows who's going to win this game. But I think if you're Florida, Alabama really relies on 3 people. They rely on Mac Jones, Devontae Smith, who has over a third of the team's receptions this year, and they rely on Najee Harris. If you can shut down Smith and force another receiver to beat you, Florida will win the game. But other than that, Bama's only giving up 16 points a game. The SEC championship is going back to Bama.
Bama by 30. It's not close.
Not close. Bama by
Not
30.
close.
So, Matt's taking Bama here. What do you have to say, Cena?
Bama, all the way.
Roll Tide, huh?
Yeah, roll tide.
Say what? What'd you say, man?
Say
Say
what?
that again.
So we're going on with Connor now. Connor, what is your pick?
Is this time for drink lock? Or is
Yeah,
that later?
yeah.
Time for your drink lock right here. Could we have a drink lock?
Yeah, I've got a drink lock for this one. I've got Alabama by 21 or more.
Alabama by 21 or more.
It might be a close first half.
I almost made that bet with my my Florida Gator friend. We made a bet that if Florida wins, I pay him $25, and if Alabama wins every point over 21, he'll pay me $2.
Tell him, bring me my money.
You mean my money? We are basically stealing money from people with those type of bets there. So,
All right, we're going to go into the biggest game of the weekend, and that's going to be the ACC Championship. Number 2, Notre Dame versus number 3. These are the 2 best teams in the nation outside of, obviously, Alabama. I think this is a game Notre Dame needs to prove to the world why they are here. We've seen Notre Dame ranked very highly before just to get blown out in a championship game or playoff game. In their first meeting, Notre Dame beat Clemson by 7 points. They completely shut down Clemson's run game, only giving up 34 yards on 33 carries. However, they did give up 439 passing yards to a backup quarterback. Now that Trevor Lawrence is back, expect that number to stay around the same. It's not going to go up, and that's because Trevor Lawrence being back is going to open up Clemson's running game. They're not going to shut him down twice, especially now that they're going to have to focus on Lawrence passing. And with Lawrence in the game, Clemson hasn't even played a game remarkably close this year. The last time they played a game that was close with Lawrence was when they lost to LSU in last year's national championship game. This is Clemson's game by 10.
Now, like I said last week, Clemson's my drink lock of the week. I'm still going to roll with them. I think they win. I think it's close in the beginning, and I think Clemson starts to run away with it in the fourth. I don't think it's like a big runaway, but I still think by 10, 17 or more, something like that. But I think once you get the fourth quarter into the dog bit of the game, Clemson's going to start taking over. I think the run game's going to kick in this time. Like you said, Chad, with Trevor Lawrence being there, they're more they're going to – like the last game, they were going to let the backup quarterback beat them. If they were going to lose, they were going to lose to a backup quarterback. I think they weren't going to let Travis Etienne beat them. But I think now they're more worried about Trevor Lawrence. It's going to open up the game for them.
Exactly. With Trevor Lawrence coming in there, it's going to change their whole mindset on the defensive side of the ball. They won't be able to just focus on stopping the run and Etienne. They now have to extend and stop the pass from Trevor Lawrence. And that's a tough job to do. So we're going to see. I think Clemson's going to come and win this game by 21 or more. It's going to be a payback game, and they're going to want revenge.
21 or more. Damn, man. I've got them winning.
I know. We're not picking Bama over Florida here.
I've got Clemson by 14. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to be the difference. And they also get their star linebacker, I think, is playing in this matchup this time. And Clemson remembers the Notre Dame fans rushing the field, so I don't think they're going to appreciate that.
So I was actually going to bring that up with my prediction. Just when Notre Dame and Clemson played the first time, didn't they play at Notre Dame?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So where they're playing the title game this year?
Charlotte, isn't it?
Charlotte, North Carolina, which is one state closer to South Carolina. So in the earlier game, Notre Dame had the home field advantage. But I think this one, Clemson will have the home field advantage, even though they're in a different state. But more fans will travel to this game than the previous.
I think there'll be a lot of Clemson, whatever the capacity is. I think there'd be a lot of Clemson fans. But I also don't want to rule out that there being a lot of Notre Dame fans, because with Notre Dame's history, Notre Dame's got a bunch of old fans and very loyal. So I think Notre Dame fans show up too.
Yeah, I think both teams will have their fans show up, but I think Clemson will have just a little bit more of an edge since it's much closer than what Notre Dame is, and then obviously in the first time, Trevor Lawrence didn't play. Their backup is not Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is obviously so much better, so I got Clemson single-handedly, easily beating Notre Dame.
Next, we got Texas A&M versus Tennessee. This really only matters depending on what happens in the top four. Texas A&M sitting at number 5. They obviously need a win, but if they do win, the only way they're going, like I said, is going to move up is if something happens like Ohio State loss or a Clemson loss again.
So Texas A&M's off this weekend, right?
No, they're playing this weekend.
They're all against Tennessee.
Tennessee's got a football program?
They play Saturday. Oh, okay.
Oh, you're trying to be mean. You're being mean.
Trying to be funny.
All right, I did A&M win this game.
A&M is going to destroy Tennessee. Not even going to be close.
A&M has to destroy Tennessee if they want in.
Yeah, and also, I mean, A&M is going to have to be hoping for a Notre Dame sweep of Clemson for them to have a shot at the playoffs.
Extremely hard.
That will be a long shot.
And you know what? Tennessee is coming off a huge win, 40-17 against Vanderbilt. I got Tennessee winning.
Do you? Do you really?
Chad,
Give me 2 reasons why you think that's a good pick.
ourselves. Come on.
It's A&M. They're used to choking, so I'll give it to them. But I got A&M going. It shouldn't be close. I'd say they win again by 30.
All right, so we're all taking A&M here.
All right, next up, we got a big game with the Pac-12 Championship. I don't think it's a big game, but obviously Matt thinks it's a huge game. The Pac-12 Championship is being played against USC, number 13, and Oregon. Oregon took over after Washington backed out after COVID issues within their program. I think this is the right move because Oregon would have beat Washington in their game anyways. Washington's quarterback has been terrible this year. Morris has only completed 60% of his passes and has only thrown 4 touchdowns in 4 games. Not to mention they barely could win games. They beat Oregon State by 6 points and they beat Utah by 3. So Oregon's the better team between those 2 teams. Oregon did win their first 3 games, but lost their last 2, but kept it extremely close, just like by 7 points combined. Oregon in the Pac-12 has the number 1 offense. They're averaging 467 yards per game and 34.2 points per game. So Oregon was going to go at that game. Their game against Washington wasn't canceled anyways.
I don't know. I think we should start to get to where how like the ACC did. I think we should take the top 2 teams in each division. Like, quit dividing it up between the North and the South and stuff like that. I think we need to take the 2 best teams out of the division, like, rankings-wise, and I think that really would give you a clear winner of who wins.
You take the 2 top teams from the divisions.
No, you take a
He
North
means,
and a South.
he means like the best total.
ACC's taking the number 1 and number 2 teams out of the conference.
Yeah, out of the conference.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
I mean, but it's a conference. That'd be like the NFL taking just whoever is the number 1 team.
What's the difference between an ACC taking out the top 2 and the SEC taking out the top 2? It's about the same teams.
Yeah, but Florida won the East and Alabama won the West.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. I think we should go more towards a thing like the ACC than having a North and a South. Because you know how many years the West has been a lot more competitive than the East and the SEC, and how much better of an SEC championship it would have been if you had an Alabama playing the number 3, number 5 school than playing back, considering a few years ago when Georgia and Florida won at the top peak of their program. or like when Alabama was playing Missouri in the SEC championship.
Missouri
So, I mean,
deserved to be in the championship those 2 years.
Well, I'm just saying, I still think the West had better teams.
Well, the
Always
West has
will.
bigger teams. They have LSU, Auburn, and
Well,
Alabama.
that's what I'm saying. You get the better team. You get the better teams out the conference to play against each other in the SEC championship.
All right, back to the Pac-12 championship.
Hmm.
So Oregon is definitely the best team that USC has played this year by far. USC has struggled, like I said earlier, winning 3 of their 5 games by less than a touchdown. They struggled to beat an 0-5 Arizona team. This game is going to be a Pac-12 championship again. Will be Oregon.
I don't think it's close. I think USC wins by 14.
USC.
You taking USC, Cena?
Yes, I am. Taking the Trojans.
I had USC in my notes to win, but the more I think about it, I think Oregon could win. So I'm going to go with Oregon.
All right, I'm going to go with USC, but only by 7. It's going to be a close game. I think it's going to come down to a few plays made in the 4th quarter, and USC comes away with the victory.
All right. Next, we have a top 25 matchup: Ohio State versus Northwestern. No one's really given Northwestern a chance. I'm not. The O is going to win.
Ohio.
Texas A&M is giving Northwestern a chance. That's who gives.
Are they though? I don't think Texas A&M believes that.
I got Ohio State winning, and this is my drink lock of the week. I got Ohio State winning.
Way to be conservative.
Yeah, way to make sure you win.
Right. Is that the whole
Well,
point?
I mean, Connor picked Bama.
That's a better game than this.
Yeah, it's a better game than this.
Northwestern.
Nah.
I'm going to go and say it's not even close. Ohio State just rolls over Northwestern and puts them into the grave.
Yeah, I think Northwestern has a better chance, even if they didn't show up.
Damn.
All right, we have our third top 10 matchup of the weekend, the Big 12 championship. Number 6 Iowa State versus number 10 Oklahoma. Iowa State, their quarterback Purdy is good enough just to win football games, but this team revolves around their running game. Hill is the nation's leading rusher with 1,357 yards and 17 touchdowns. He will definitely be Oklahoma's priority this weekend. However, Oklahoma has only given up 88 yards a game, and they're very high scoring. So Iowa State's going to have to throw the ball this week, which they can't. So this is going to be bad for Iowa State. Hello, Oklahoma again. Welcome back to the national championship.
Oklahoma's going to get this W, Chad.
National championship, Chad.
They're not going that far, but
I think Oklahoma wins too. I think their quarterback play is a lot better than Iowa State's. So I think that's where it's going to be the main difference, that Oklahoma's quarterback can really make plays.
Agreed. I think Iowa State here is ranked a lot higher than they should be. I mean, they're ranked here at number 6, but even though Oklahoma is I think Oklahoma is the better team, the better program. I think Oklahoma is going to go into this game and might not be an upset to us or whatever. I mean, a lot of us believe Oklahoma is the better program, but I mean, the college football ranking, it'll be an upset win for Oklahoma here to beat Iowa State. So
the only reason Iowa State's the higher ranked team this right now is because of who Oklahoma lost to. Iowa State has good losses compared to Oklahoma, so that's why Iowa State's going in as the higher ranked team. But this is Oklahoma. Oklahoma over the last few weeks after finishing their losing part of the season has looked like the Oklahoma we've seen the last 4 or 5 years. So
Got Oklahoma.
expect Oklahoma to put up 40-something points this week.
At Oklahoma as well.
All right, Oklahoma across the board.
Oklahoma's around.
But I am pulling for Iowa State and Brock Purdy. Okay, I'm pulling for them, but I think Oklahoma wins it.
Cool.
If they win, it's not going to be because of Purdy,
Who was that?
whatever his name is.
Brock Purdy.
The only name that you need to know on Iowa's offense is Hall. If Hall doesn't run for 300 yards, Iowa State loses.
I'm pulling for Iowa State, but I think Oklahoma's gonna win it.
All right, moving on to the next game, we got your drink laugh of the week here, Chad, and ULL versus Coastal Carolina.
I mean, is it really going to be a game? ULL is the Raging Cajuns. I mean, I'm raging right now, and I'm a Cajun.
Let's go Cajuns, baby.
I'm raging, and y'all.
Whatever that thing is, the U and the L you throw up.
Is that what it is?
I don't know what
Throw
you.
up what you know, baby.
Or what you know?
UL.
Expect for UL to run all over Coastal Carolina.
I think UL is more prepared against Coastal Carolina this week. It's hard to beat a good team twice, and I think UL takes it.
I got Coastal Carolina winning.
It is hard to win to be a good team twice, but both of these teams are both running teams, so it's literally going to be whose defense can stop the run game.
No, what defense shows up first?
Yeah.
Okay,
They're going to
UL.
pass, but they're going to run the ball. They're going to run the ball 40 times compared to like 20 passing.
I think ULL here is going to come out with the win. Like you said, try to beat a good team twice. Going to ruin Coastal Carolina perfect season, but we'll find out though. It's going to be tougher than most people think, but I think ULL gets the win here.
Did y'all get to watch that game the first time it came around?
No, but I heard it was good.
It was a fantastic game to watch. Very interesting. At the end of the game, it had maybe 3 major turnovers within the last 2 minutes of the game. So it was very Coastal Carolina was really driving on them. That game really should have been 37-27. But they threw a pick, and then UL went down and started driving, and then they threw a pick, and then that sealed the game. I think Coastal Carolina honestly takes this one better than what they did the first time.
Really?
But it'll be a fantastic game once again. I guarantee it.
Must watch CTV if you're a Coastal Carolina or a UL.
What time's that game?
2:30 p.m.
All right, and moving on to our last game.
Central Time.
The talk.
All right, we got the number 6 ranked team in the country versus number 23 Tulsa. Obviously, I think highly of Cincinnati. Ryder and Dukes are going to run all over Tulsa this weekend. Expect Cincinnati to still drop in the rankings.
If would a win, would a win.
I would actually love to see Tulsa win because that's probably the best team they have had at that program in a while. But yeah, I can't deny Cincinnati. They gonna steamroll them.
Yeah, I got Cincinnati. They're just gonna come in, play better, and get out with the W here.
Got the Bearcats. Go Cincinnati.
I've got Cincinnati in a not even a close game.
Yeah, I also have Cincinnati.
All across the board, all 6 Cincinnati. Gonna be an upset for us if Tulsa comes out and pulls this W out.
Tulsa wins by 30.
Well, all right. Well, that concludes college football for the week. We had showed you how the committee is being biased towards Power 5 schools over Group of 5 schools. The AAC commissioner called them out on this, and the committee put out a bullshit excuse that no one should believe. So,
Well, this is the second time they would have done it to the AAC.
Yeah,
I think that's why the
years in a-
AAC's fed up with them.
they did it 2 years in a row with UCF.
Yeah.
But I don't
Yeah.
think UCF was
I
that
don't
good.
blame them anyway.
I think since this Cincinnati's team is better than that UCF team, the best team that UCF beat during that period was Auburn. But I think just like Florida got caught looking ahead to Alabama, Auburn was just non-caring about that bowl game. And then you seen the next year when they went up against another top 10 SEC team with LSU, and they couldn't compete. So
Yeah, I would like to, give everybody an update on the top 10 recruiting class, how the recruiting class is going on. With the signing day being here, early signees and whatnot. I'll just give you the top 5 teams. Bama being number 1, Ohio State number 2, Georgia's number 3, LSU's number 4, and Clemson being number 5 as the top 5 recruiting classes as of now.
Do you have the other 5 by any chance? Do you have the top 10?
I do got the top 10.
What's 5 through 10? I'm curious.
5 through 10 is so Clemson's number 5, Oregon's number 6, Oklahoma's number 7, Florida's number 8, Notre Dame number 9, Miami number 10, A&M number 11.
Basically the same 10 teams every year.
It is. I kind of thought Oklahoma was going to be a little higher this year, but
I mean, if you look at it, Miami, I know they might have lost UNC, but it looks like Manny Diaz is starting to bring in some recruits again back to the U. I mean, I know it showed a little bit this year, but it looks like Manny Diaz is really turning that around of an opposite of what a Florida State's doing. Because last I looked, Florida State was outside the top 25. I think they were 28. And so it really speaks volumes on to what's going on. I mean, Florida's still the top team in the state right now, but I think it speaks volumes of what Manny Diaz did when he came in compared to what Mike Norvell, what's going on with that program in Tallahassee.
For sure.
Changing.
Well, Florida State lost Jimbo Fisher. That's why Texas A&M sitting at number 11 in the recruiting class.
Yeah. Miami signed 2 big names, James Williams and Leonard Taylor. 13 ranked in the nation safety and a number 10 ranked defensive tackle in the nation. But Ohio State and Bama, they really running away with this one as far as top ranks. Both of them got 3 top 10 recruits in their recruit class. So
LSU got the number 1 recruit in the country this year, but I think they did fall behind simply because we had some decommits from LSU that decided to decommit from LSU and go to Alabama.
I thought Ohio State had the top pick again.
No, we had the top pick was Mason. I don't remember his last name, but he's a defensive end.
Yeah, Mason Smith, defensive tackle. He's a big one.
Was there any top JUCO signings?
Not that I seen. I would have to look more into that. That'll be probably in the next one.
Cool.
Okay. We also had any more updates talking about, we know with the coach firing at Auburn.
Big news. Sunday happened. Gus Malzahn, Auburn's head coach, fired. Been there for quite a while. Hasn't brought no national championships in there. They don't want to just stay out of State Rock. So I guess, with that $21 million contract that he had, it didn't feel like he was worth it anymore. So they got a Hugh Freeze, who's a real big name. He used to coach at Ole Miss. Now he's at Liberty, who beat Bama twice when he was head coach at Ole Miss. So he's a real big name that they're looking at. Definitely up there. A great guy that they probably going to snatch up.
Yeah, Art Briles is back. He's they're thinking that he's in the conversation too. This week, just recently resigned from his high school coaching gig that he had to take after he got fired from Baylor. And then you also have Lane Kiffin in that mix also.
Yeah, it's a great group of guys that they have a strong possibility in. You know, I think it definitely comes down to where they want to focus their team on more. You know, offensive, defensive side, because these guys that you talk about definitely have a favorite like Lane Kiffin, very offensive guy. You know, just where you want to go with it. You know, they got a good group of talent there. You just gotta put them underneath a good coach.